coming up on Nittany Game Week.
This team's really rock solid from really start to finish.
Carter Starace starts off an electric night in Philly by securing an unprecedented 5th national title.
You see him compete all year long for 5 years. He competes every match.
The Nittany Lions cruise to their 12th team championship in the past 14 years.
He needs to take another step this year, which I think he's done every single year that he's been here.
And it's football season once again. What areas Coach Franklin wants to see improvement from his returning starters, like quarterback Drew Aller. It's time for Nittany Game Week. Ho-hum, another record-breaking performance from Penn State's championship wrestling team. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nittany Game Week. I'm Todd Sadowski.
Yeah, and I'm Ryan Yee. Make it 12 national titles in 14 years and no end in sight to this dynasty. What a wild weekend in Philadelphia as Nittany Lions fans get to experience the domination in their home state.
Yeah, 20-0 in the first 2 rounds. All 10 wrestlers earned All-American status. Just incredible. And we hit the mats to start our opening drive. Sellout crowd on Saturday night for the finals, and they juggle the lineup to begin at 184 pounds with Carter Starace as he becomes the first Division I wrestler to win 5 titles, a reliable championship piece for Coach Cale Sanderson for half a decade. Starace needs only 1 takedown to win the match, and he avoids neutral danger to make it happen. The ref slides in and awards the 3 points. Couple of late points to make the margin 4-3. Starace, the celebration is on. Hugs for the coaches and for his family a little later after his media session. What a legacy he leaves behind. Perfect 25-0 in 5 NCAA tournaments. Check out the other champion, 165-pound sophomore Mitchell Messenbrink, awfully loose early in the night. Now, he lost in the title match as a freshman, back on the mat against Iowa's Mikey Caliendo, a very familiar opponent. He tech falls Caliendo in the regular season bout, then takes a decision in the Big Ten final. Messenbrink scores the only 2 takedowns of the match, including 1 late to ice it for an 8-2 final. He knows it's over. The final seconds tick off, and the emotion pours out. Messenbrink is an NCAA champ.
One of my old teammates, he wrestled him a few times, and he beat him for a national title. So we have almost every single look in the room possible, and obviously we have the greatest wrestler of all time in Coach Cale Sanderson. So, and all of our coaches too. So I just think having that alone I think that piece alone already separates you, and then add in everything else, and just kind of you got to go out there and have the will to win.
Man, it's so awesome to be able to have like those people there in your corner, like my parents and my girlfriend and my family and my siblings, and then I look over in my corner and I got the best coaches in the entire world. And it's just like is how I can not even make it a thing about how many times I wrestle the guys, just keep getting better and better and better and better.
1 loss in 2 years in state college for Messenbrink. Messenbrink has the work ethic and passion for the sport to remain at the top. Now, the Nittany Lions have a 3rd finalist, redshirt freshman Josh Barr at 197. He falls in the title bout, but Barr's overall performance is a prime example of the depth on the mats in Philly. 10 wrestlers, 10 All-Americans, 20-0 in those first 2 rounds. It leads to the largest team total ever, 177 points, which breaks last year's record set by the blue and white, 172.5. A handful of guys end up fighting back to finish in 3rd. This is junior Levi Haynes, who has an NCAA championship on his resume as last year's champ at 157. Now, Haynes lost his semifinal bout, but secures a valuable 3rd place spot at 174. Here's Barr in the 197-pound final. Escapes against Iowa's Stephen Buchanan. Close match. Barr loses to a veteran guy, 5-2. So the future very bright for him. Now, every weight class for the Parade All-Americans includes a guy wearing the blue and white. True freshman Luke Littledale, 3rd at 125. Sophomore Braden Davis ends up 5th at 133. Senior Bo Bartlett will need to be replaced. He's a 3rd place finisher at 141. Another sophomore, Shane Van Ness, grabs 3rd at 149. Sophomore Tyler Kasich secures a 3rd place spot at 157 pounds. And then heavyweight Greg Kirkleet ends his stellar career a little early with an injury. He has a 6th place finish for Coach Sanderson. This is a lineup strong from top to bottom.
This was a really fun year, with some new faces like a Luke Littledale, right, and a freshman Barr, and then you got a guy like Carter, who just, wins a 5th national title, all the way up and down the lineup. Everyone gave a great effort.
Now, the coaching staff does a great job keeping their guys humble. It's hard to describe how good they've been and will likely continue to remain at the top of the sport.
And you can count on the best wrestling program in the country to draw the best fans, especially when the big tournament is happening in their own backyard. I caught up with Penn State fans at the Wells Fargo Center about the excitement of watching the country's best in blue and white.
We are Penn State! Thank you!
A week of the best college wrestling has to offer. Penn State fans anxiously await for.
It's like I walked in here, I couldn't get a smile off my face. I mean, it's like contagious.
Very excited, looking forward to it. Should be a fun evening, that's for sure.
A level of passion at the season finale fitting for the best wrestling college program in the country.
For us, it's about Penn State. There's Penn State everywhere in the crowd. But it's still just a neat environment to be with wrestling and all the people that love wrestling.
You know, they're the best in the best team.
Best in the world.
So we're gonna watch them, dominate.
We always watch Penn State, but with the wrestling, getting to know this team the last 4 or 5 years has been amazing. So to be here tonight in Philly and watch our team we love is amazing.
A crowd of blue and white made for a championship-winning environment like no other.
I think the atmosphere, especially during the finals, is going to be something once-in-a-lifetime experiment. It's another level. It's all family here. Everybody comes together. It's just a great time.
I'm at the edge of my seat, like loving it all day long, and it's super exciting that they do so well, and we're very excited to be part of that.
Yeah, big fun weekend indeed for Penn State fans. All right, from the mats over to the ice, the men's hockey team are in Allentown for the NCAA tournament this weekend to take on the best in the country. It's the team's 4th NCAA tournament appearance in its 13-year history, all of which have come in the past 9 seasons. In fact, they have made it to the season finale 2 of the last 3 years. Lots of high hopes for the team that finish off the season scorching hot with big wins, most notably against Minnesota, Michigan State, and Michigan, and a little bit of redemption too, after falling short in the Big Ten final against Ohio State. So their NCAA journey begins against number 4 ranked Maine on Friday. It's the first ever meeting between the two schools in program history. On the other side of the regional bracket in Allentown, UConn makes its first ever tournament appearance to take on 2023 tournament champs. Quinnipiac winners will take on each other on Sunday with a shot at the semifinals in St. Louis, Missouri on April 10th. All right, up next, back to the mats for more on one of the best programs in all of college athletics, what separates them from the rest of the competition, and why the domination should continue for years to come. Nittany Game Week returns after this.
Roadmap to Victory is sponsored by the R&R family of companies.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Other wrestling programs must be shaking their heads right now. Penn State sets a record with 172.5 team points to win the national championship in 2024.
Yeah, and they follow it up with 177 points this past weekend in Philadelphia. The PSU dynasty rolls on.
Now here's some insight into what makes their road to victory every year so unique. It starts with the student athletes. Tough-minded, talented, individual excellence that leads to team domination, with the experienced champions contributing even after their eligibility has expired.
We still have guys like Aaron that's helping out and coach and things like that. So I just feel like when you kind of have that group of guys and that level of experience, it always makes it fun and exciting and things like that. And we have a guy that's a sophomore in the NCAA finals, and our other finalist is a freshman. So that's pretty much tell you kind of where the program's going. We have some young guys that are really making noise, and so I think our coaches are going to keep leading in that direction.
One of those young wrestlers is a new NCAA champion, sophomore Mitchell Messenbrink. He embodies the qualities of a Penn State wrestler, physically gifted, passionate about the sport, and grateful for his support system, while using every resource available to him to improve, including philosophy and psychology.
Success equals, right, like being fearless, courageous, disciplined, cunning, right, smart, and stuff like that. And I think those are things that we've seen transcend history in champions and in leaders, and my coaches and my parents and my family, there's no shortcoming to that. They're all that, and I've been able to learn that not only in a philosophy book from the leaders, that moral exemplars is what it's called in philosophy. Like, I have them in my life that do it.
The coaching staff is second to none in any college program. Cale Sanderson took over as head coach in April of 2009 and has led the team to 12 national championships. He was undefeated as a college wrestler and has made this team almost unbeatable during his tenure. The coaches never cease working to make the program better, and their approach is not what you would expect.
He recruits amazing young men who understand and are fully committed to being the best. And Cale does it in a way that is so special and unique. It's not what people, you think you come into a wrestling program, it's like fire and brimstone. No. Take care of your person first. Take care of who you are and bring people who understand that and who love to wrestle. And then we're just going to get better and better and better along the way. And it sounds simple. But the culture that he builds in that building, that Casey builds and Cody, like that unit builds, there's nothing like it.
Individual championships lead to the team titles, but the key is every member of the squad doing their part. All 10 Nittany Lions that competed this year are All-Americans, and every one of them fought their hardest to contribute to the record-breaking team total.
I mean, guys finishing third is there's a lot of honor in that. That's a really big deal. Something that obviously we really value them kind of battling back as a team. And then you saw Carter and Barr and Greg I already talked about. So yeah, great team effort, and just super proud of them and happy for them. And we're excited to get back to work. I mean, it's all a process. We just keep getting better as coaches. We got to take our own medicine and figure out how we can do things better.
The results speak for themselves, and sometimes that's the most you get out of a team that expects and delivers excellence every year. Nice to hear them discuss their success in more detail.
Yeah, and it's a classic case of reloading and not rebuilding. They'll go for another title next season with the championships in Cleveland. And on top of crowning wrestling champs last week in State College, we also had the best in college fencing dueling for national titles. A good showing from the blue and white on home turf in what was a finale to a very successful season. PSU places 7th overall at the national championships. Mohamed Yassin with the team's best finish in 5th in the men's épée. All right, don't go anywhere. That football team is the topic of discussion coming up, where Coach Franklin wants to see his team improve after their appearance in the national semifinals. We'll be right back.
Impact Interview is sponsored by the Pocono Mountains, where small-town charm meets big adventures. Book your trip today by visiting PoconoMountains.com.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week, last week of March, which usually means the football team is back on the field for the first of 15 spring practices. It also means Coach Franklin fielding questions from Penn State's football media. Our Impact interview a little more inclusive this week as we pick out a few of the topics Coach Franklin was asked about after a season that takes them all the way to the national semifinals. This is the last time we saw the 2024 Nittany Lions, waving goodbye and thank you to the fans after the 2025 Orange Bowl. And Coach Franklin was asked how he will handle the workload of returning starters this spring.
With our established guys who've played a lot of football, we will modify their reps. It's a fine line because they still need to get better. That's why they came back. So we need to be smart about that. I also think it creates an opportunity for the guys that are behind them that are competing for more significant roles. It gives you a better evaluation on those guys as well. But for our established guys, we talk about it as a staff. We go around each position. Coach will talk about what his plan is for what guys, make sure that we're on the same page, how I see it as well as how they see it. And then we'll implement that during spring ball. We did the same thing with Tyler Warren last year.
Drew Aller is one of the established guys coming back. Coach was asked specifically about Drew and how the spring can help him moving forward.
He needs to take another step this year, which I think he's done every single year that he's been here. He needs to take another step, when it comes to his mobility. He needs to take another step when it comes to his leadership. He needs to take another step in terms of his completion percentage. Needs to take another step in terms of his touchdown and interception ratio. It's really all of it. There are some things that me and Drew have had some conversations with Danny O'Brien that those conversations will stay between us. But I would say just being transparent with you, I will say I don't think it's one necessarily specific thing. It's all of it. And the thing that's exciting about Drew, and you guys see him, he may be 6'5", 235 pounds, but he's still got a lot of growth and development.
The college football landscape is rapidly changing. That includes spring football games. Some programs are eliminating them altogether. The Nittany Lions tradition will continue in mid-April with a few tweaks.
I've been at Penn State now long enough to understand the impact that Penn State football has on this entire community. And I think everybody's aware of that, right? There needs to be give and take with this. We need to work together. A successful Penn State football program helps everybody out, the bars, the restaurants, the hotels. So for me to at any point sit here and say we're not going to have a spring game, I don't think that would make sense for a ton of reasons. The university schedules a ton of fundraising events around the spring game. A lot of people are in town. It's like a homecoming for the spring type of deal. So that's going to factor in always into our decision-making process. There's some things that we will not do. The game will not be televised for some of the reasons we've already discussed and you've heard other coaches maybe talk about. And we will have a spring game probably more similar to what we've had in the past, at least right now, as we go through these 15 days, that could change. But I could see it being maybe a little bit shorter.
Penn State loses impact players on both sides of the ball. Not seeing number 44, Tyler Warren, on offense is going to hurt. The question to coach is about leaning towards more of a run-heavy approach.
To me, I look at it as an exciting time. And if I'm a wide receiver or a tight end, I'm excited because Tyler Warren had how many catches last year?
102, I believe.
Those catches got to go somewhere, right? So, if I'm wide receivers, I'm excited. If I'm tight ends, I'm excited because that production needs to go somewhere. And I think we've talked about this a little bit in the past. The interesting thing is the wide receivers need to understand they're not just competing with the wide receivers, they're competing with the running backs. Like, who's going to get the touches? They're competing with the tight ends. Who's going to get the touches? The tight ends are doing the same thing. They're competing with the other tight ends, but they're also competing with the other rooms, the receiver room, the running backs for touches. And at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we're getting our best players the ball. And I think the other thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make sure we have enough of those people.
Last subject to touch on comes off the field. With a new naming rights deal at the stadium, revenue sharing right around the corner, and the $700 million renovation project, he's asked about the confidence level he has in Penn State's ability to compete as college football continues to change.
When you have a $700 million project going on at the same time that you're trying to get a roster put together with NIL, and that could be some challenges, of where that fundraising goes. I think things have been handled really well now. Again, that doesn't mean it's always smooth, but I think from my lens and the things that I've seen, things have been handled really well. And making sure that we're showing everybody the respect that is needed and deserved, while also making difficult decisions that need to be made in moving the program, the university, and the athletic department forward.
Always exciting when the football team is back on the field. Make sure you go to NittanyGameWeek.com to watch our Impact interviews along with other web-exclusive content like our depth chart and pride picks. Still have our Dean's List to recognize. Also a note on former Penn State wrestler and Hodge Trophy winner David Taylor in his first year coaching at Oklahoma State. We're heading into the final minutes on Nittany Game Week.
The Nittany Game Week Depth Chart is brought to you by Burke and Bradley Orthopedics. Located in Pittsburgh, Burke and Bradley Orthopedics is a comprehensive sports medicine practice, providing patients with the most current and innovative approaches in diagnosis and treatment.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Do you remember this guy? May look familiar. David Taylor, former Penn State wrestler, Hodge Trophy winner, and current Oklahoma State head coach, back in PA this weekend with his Cowboys hunting for national glory. And what a match he coached. And one of the stories from the weekend, OK State, Wyatt Hendrickson with the upset win over Gable Steveson. You can see Taylor in the back absolutely amped up, celebrating with his guy after the huge win. What a job he's done at Oklahoma State in just his first season. Third place finish for the Cowboys. Love to see guys with Penn State ties succeeding. And like we do every week, there's others to shout out as well in our home stretch of the show in our Dean's List for Nittany Game Week. We got to talk about fencing, which wrapped up their season over the weekend, finishing 7th in the national championship. And a notable postseason honor from one of the team's best, Mohammed Yassin, earns All-American honors from the U.S. Fencing Coaches Association with a 5th place finish we talked about earlier. Along with Yassin, 5 others on the Penn State squad earned honorable mentions. On to track and field, let me tell you, the blue and white had a fantastic showing in the first outdoor meet of the season at the Penn Challenge in Philly last Saturday. 8 Nittany Lions earned first place finishes. Dominance in the hammer throw, long jump, high jump, javelin, pole vault, and 200 meters. Talk about sweeping the table. Awesome to see our Nittany Lions excel. Congrats to this week's Nittany Game Week Dean's List.
Another solid list, of course. Make sure to check out our depth chart at NittanyGameWeek.com. Cool concept as we bring Nittany Lions together. Make sure to visit or check out the businesses that support the show and reach out for more information on their professional services. Our goal is to build a team that keeps our hometowns strong. Now, we've had a lot of fun covering the non-football sports in Happy Valley as we've expanded the program through the winter and spring months. You can check out past episodes and interviews all in one convenient location. Make sure to check out NittanyGameWeek.com when you have the chance. We always finish with some pride picks. Make sure to show us your spirit. Submit them on our website. For Ryan, I'm Todd. Thanks so much for watching Nittany Game Week. We'll see you next time.